How will Jaylin Lucas's injury impact Florida State's offense?
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith. Thank you for making this your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate you stopping in to talk some Noles football with me. Today's show is brought to you by Ultimate College Football Head Coach, a brand that is a new mobile game and it is completely free, no ads, and 100% playable offline. Begin your coaching legacy today. So, Jaylin Lucas, it's been announced he is out. He was one of the few playmakers that had shown out so far for the Noles. Didn't have a ton of touches, but he's a guy that obviously electric. He is done for the season. It was announced on Monday. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I mentioned it in yesterday's show, just in passing, that he was injured. But I wanted to put together a plan on, okay, how does this really impact the Noles? In today's show, we're going to talk about the rushing game and how this is not what you want because it actually hinders the rushing game. You know, he doesn't run the ball a lot himself, and how Florida State has to adjust with some players. Then we're going to talk about Norvell a little bit and then finish up with attacking the Memphis defense. They better have a really good game plan, and that's kind of why I'm starting off with Lucas. So here's the baseline of this. If you take nothing else away from this show, note that the Noles coming into this game, 0-2, are averaging, ready for this? This is yards per carry as a team. 2.53 yards per carry. 2.53. Losing any player offensively is not good. You know, you don't want the young man to be injured first and foremost. But as a unit, when you lose a guy with the lateral cutting ability, the ability to dart and dodge, to accelerate and break through a tackle, the way that Jaylin can, and his ability to catch the football, to be in the slot, to be a jet sweep guy, that impacts the offense in numerous ways. His stats really aren't like overwhelming. I mean, I could read them off, but he is a part of the offense and he's what they're trying to do. He's Jakai's brother, younger brother, Jakai Douglas, obviously a slot for the Noles. I'm interested to see how Florida State adjusts in terms of the personnel. They got Makai Danzy's moved up off scout team to the running back room and is practicing with the normal offense, getting some reps in practice. Norvell confirmed that. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But I think Florida State has a lot of questions to ask. And there's not just one answer here on what to do because the offense is struggling, and that's being kind, to put it mildly. Again, 2.53 yards carry. Come on. That's a joke. It's one of the lowest averages in all of college football. Matter of fact, I'll share my screen just to show everybody. This is from CFB Stats, really good site. It's one of my favorite sites. If you do not use it, you should. To put it mildly, it is a tremendous site. So here are the numbers for the Noles, and I mean, it's just pedestrian. Rodell's 15 carries for 48 yards. In 2 games, you don't have a running back over 50 yards. He's at 3.2, and he does have a touchdown. He's averaging 7.5 totes per game. Tofili has 9 carries in 2 games. I could be wrong, but I think there's something going on there. I just don't believe he's 100% healthy. Prove me wrong, but there's no way the guy that I was told was going to be the lead back this year is going to have 9 carries in 2 games. Zero chance I'm believing that. There's something off there. Whatever it is, there's some kind of problem, but that needs to be rectified post-haste. 9 carries, 37 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, and he does have a touchdown. Then you had Lucas. He's got 2 carries for 13 yards, 6.5. But again, his value is with the jet sweeps, the screens, where he lines up, making the defense counter to him because everybody knows how fast he is. Nobody wants to try to tackle that guy one-on-one. It's awful. Not having him in there impacts all these other guys who are already, by and large, struggling in some way, shape, or form. So Florida State is struggling there. Cam Davis, 4 carries, 11 yards. Keziah Holmes, 3 carries, 8 yards. DJ, this is a little misleading because sacks count against 14 carries and 2 yards. So they really do stink right now at running the football. And it's also accentuated by Byers. The right tackle is still banged up. Rob Scott's not very good. Jalen Early is a guy he's a redshirt sophomore from the New Orleans area. He's getting reps. He got some reps in the last game, but I try not to focus on players in the game at offensive line as much as how the unit's playing. And I know one guy can be a sieve. I get it. But he's a newer player. The fact that basically your third team right tackle is getting reps is a sign of where the offensive line is. It's regressed so much. It's insane. So that's also tied in. But if you look at the passing stats too, that's when it gets really funky. Florida State needs to run the football more effectively because not only are they going to try and be creative with the run game and be good, like last year, they're really good with it, considering the offensive line wasn't great. But, I mean, the receivers, I can share this too. It's not exactly friendly. I'm being ultra nice in saying that. They don't have a guy that's done anything spectacular. Jakai's pretty good so far, but like there's just no consistency, and that's a problem. It's a major problem, but it stems off this running game, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. Here's the passing stats for those of you on YouTube. Let's go over that just quickly. Jakai Douglas, 8 catches, 121 yards, 15 yards a catch. For a smaller guy, he's played well. I'll give him credit. But at the same time, you need outside guys to consistently getting open, and they're not. Kentron obviously had the 2 catches back-to-back in the score, 4 catches for 94 yards. There's nothing wrong with that, but he just needs more of it. Benson's been a little bit of a disappointment. Nothing down the field consistently. 7 catches, 72 yards. Rodell, 5 catches for 46 yards. There's a running back. They've always thrown to the backs. Jakai, 3 catches for 39 yards, Jaylin Lucas, 3 catches for 39 yards. Toafili's had quite a few checkdowns. He's done his job. 6 catches, 38 yards. Jalen Brown as a starter, 3 catches for 26. That's not getting it done. And the tight end room has been horrendous. 1 catch for 12 yards. So this is why I bring up how important it is for Lucas to be in the game. And for having everybody, you need continuity. You need the defense to respect what you have going on. Losing him is going to be interesting. Are they going to do less jet motion or more eye candy, just the shifts and stuff? I think they need to do more, but right now they're struggling with so many basic things. I'm not sure they can. It's a conundrum. Without being in practice, I don't really have an opinion on what's being done in practice to make it work, because you need to see it, like literally see it. No offense to Norvell and his staff, and they're not going to let us into practice during the season. You need to see it to understand how comfortable the players are. Body language is everything. How quickly do they assimilate to new plays, new formations? Check with me at the line. You do simulations against the first or second team, scout team, whatever. How well are they doing when they run complicated plays, meaning there's multiple shifts, a jet motion, the timing of the snap of the jet? All that stuff matters, because the worst thing, it's hilarious when it happens. Somebody snaps the ball, whatever team, doesn't be Florida State, and the jet motion's not cleared, and it hits the guy that's going in motion. That is a disaster. Those go viral on social media for all the wrong reasons. So Florida State, they've got a lot of things they got to fix with the run game, but losing Lucas, I think, is a problem. Here's a couple other things before we talk about Norvell and his comments at his press conference. Number one, they stink at running the ball on first down and didn't even try it against Boston College. First half, I don't believe they had a first down run. That's ridiculous. Somehow, some way against Memphis, Florida State's rushing attack must create explosives. Obviously, when you're averaging 2.53 yards per carry, there's not much of that going on. They got to figure that out, because there's no way you're going to tell me that DJ Uiagalelei or any quarterback will ultimately be successful, consistently so, with a running game that is pedestrian at best on a play, and most often is more like a broken down scooter. So that's a problem. They also have to work the middle of the field a little bit. And what I mean by that is the inside running game's got to be better. to keep the safeties occupied so they can do something else, and that's get over the top. I've talked about this a million times, and at the end of the show, going to go over this a little bit. They've got to be able to get those safeties up and just respecting run and not just blitzing the crap out of them because they don't have any respect for the pass. On the other side of this, the receivers got to get more separation. That'll be a topic here in a little bit. But coming up next, we're going to talk about the Norvell press conference, a few of the things he said I liked and a few I'm concerned about. That's next on Locked On Seminoles. Hey, Locked On Seminoles fans, I want to take a moment to give you a heads up about a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to like just as much as I do, Ultimate College Football Head Coach. This amazing game and simulation allows you to step into the shoes of a head coach. You could even be the head coach of Florida State. Imagine doing that. Right now, I'm sure many of you probably think that you could do better than some of the other guys on that staff. So from recruiting players and hiring, the coaching staff, overseeing training camps, and setting your roster, you control everything. And here's what's really cool about the game. You get to make the offensive play calls. You want to throw it on first down, you want to run a flea flicker, whatever it is, you get to do it. Your strategy will determine the success of your football season. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free, no ads, and 100% playable offline. Of course, there's a special offer for Locked On Seminoles fans. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all in caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Download the game. Just go to ultimate-cfb.com or look it up in the App Store. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching journey today. This show is also brought to you by Gametime. Have you downloaded the Gametime app? It is an opportunity to find easy ways to get tickets and not go through the hassle that many other apps and other opportunities that from other companies have. So easily accessible on your phone. A couple of clicks, type in Florida State football, type in Atlanta Braves baseball, whatever it is that you're looking for, and you can go to concerts, you can go to musicals, you can go to plays, whatever it is you're looking for. Gametime is an opportunity for you to get there. There's also something else that I like because this is a pet peeve of mine. You can set it up so it has all-inclusive pricing. The price that you see up front is the price that you will also see on the back when you're checking out. If you don't like that, I don't know why, because that has drove me nuts for years with companies everywhere. $20 for this, $40 for that, whatever, ends up being $20 or $30 in addition to the original price with all the taxes and fees with many of these companies. So don't use that. Make sure you check out Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. So let's talk about Norvell's press conference and everything that he has going on. This is an interesting press conference because there was no way he could answer everything directly. I give him credit for talking about Jaylin, talking about some of the offensive stuff, but these are just a few of the notes from watching his press conference, going through it, zooming, going back and stuff like that. And I kind of feel sorry for him in a sense because there's nothing that he could say at 0-2 is going to make it better. You know, he kept saying over and over again, you know, we're not happy with where we are. Well, obviously, but I get why you say it. You need to put it on record. But anyway, here's something that was interesting. Somebody asked about practice not translating to the game, which is always a disaster at any level, any sport, at any time. He mentioned, he didn't have to say this is his quote. Played tight, pressed a little bit. Now, we could do multiple podcasts just on that one statement from Mike Norvell. There's no one way to go into it and just be happy if you're Norvell. If you're losing, you're losing. But when you're hearing practice, whoever asked that question at the press conference, good for them. But when you're losing and you're openly admitting some of that's a problem, and Bullard talked about that in his press conference too. I might talk a little bit about that tomorrow on the show, but you have to figure it out. And I don't know if they really understand it fully, because not only is it not translating whatever they're teaching in practice, it's falling off a cliff. You can't tell me somebody like Jackson, Big Jackson, the D tackle, 6'6", 320 pounds. He fits the profile of an NFL defensive lineman. 100% athletic, strong, has some proven track record. He's been in the system for a year because he sat out last year after transferring from Miami. He knows what's going on, but he's getting turned sideways. He's not making plays after he does get in the backfield and he makes a good play. Why is that happening with guys that are older players, veteran players? Same thing with the offensive line. Like, they've got as much experience as any offensive line in the country. I remember the opening game against Georgia Tech, one of the announcers said that combined cumulative number of stats for starts is 210. That's insane. You're lucky to have 70 or 80 starts as a unit for your offensive line going into any season. They had over 200, and they're giving up sieve plays, meaning guys are getting through based on a bust, not just making a move or being faster than Florida State's offensive linemen. Just straight busts. There are some of those that just don't look natural compared to what we saw last year, and they weren't great at run blocking in particular last year. But now it's going into the pass protection too. It's just weird. Norvell also discussed some of the things in regards to like hitting and being physical, kind of went around that a little bit. I don't think practice, you can't do as much as you used to. It's, regulations and whatnot. It used to be like 30 years ago, they hit like Monday through Wednesday. There was a good chance they're going to, like Monday, you do a little bit maybe, but you were going to hit Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. Like his tackle to the ground, the whole 9 yards. Very little of that during the season. So tackling is a concern, and breaking tackles for the offensive players is too. They're in a kind of a weird spot here. Without seeing practice, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm a little concerned about it. But Norvell said they still have it. This was his other big comment, and I don't see it. I agree with Mike 100% on the following. All the players, this following comment is about everybody for Florida State. Cut it loose. You got to trust your eyes. You got to trust the guys next to you on your right or left. He said that too. It's another comment he made. They are not doing that at all. But again, he didn't give any answers as to why. Like, I think he's as perplexed as the people watching this show and me. It's not like Norvell reinvented the wheel with how they practice, because this is year 5 for Norvell in the program. It's, I don't know what it is, but my statement to his comment is they play not to lose a little bit more than they are to make a dominant play, run through the ball carrier, or make a guy miss, use proper technique and block the guy in front of you. Whatever player you are, your task. They're not playing loose, that's for sure, and they're definitely not playing to win. That's basically the same statement. I'm as perplexed as anybody. I studied his press conference and went through some I can't pinpoint anything. It is annoying. Makes me wonder if this team just isn't that clutch. Like, the combination of players is just not a good mix for some reason, because nobody believes in everybody else around them on a consistent basis. It's a team sport after all, but very, very concerning. All right, this is something else that what we just talked about. This is in addition to it, since Memphis is the team at hand. Seth Hennigan is good, not kind of good. He's really good. If you mess up with him and you have a couple run gap fits, etc., that even slightly allows Memphis to run the ball consistently, and they got a couple good running backs, no doubt about it. You give Hennigan 2nd and 5, 2nd and 3s, you will get slice and dice for about 250 and 3 scores in a heartbeat. And if you miss a couple tackles in the secondary, it could be 320 and 4 scores. Like, you could get housed in Doak Campbell, no doubt about it. So I'm curious to see if Norvell's comments come to fruition. It's concerning, but I have no prediction on how that's going to happen. Norvell, you could tell, like, he was just straightforward, honest. Like, he's got to cut it loose. But will they? Like, I don't think he questions it. I think he's just steadfast, and I need to see it. So do I. And I assume people watching on YouTube and Spotify, Apple, and everywhere else that you're listening, you probably think the same. Lastly, he wouldn't discuss many specifics with what was, a problem here or there, offense or defense, which I get. He doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus. But he was talking about the passing game with DJ. And he said, were some routes running correctly? Yeah. Did DJ hit all the passes? No, he basically gave a roundabout way of saying like everything with the passing game right now is just off. He did it from a mile away, which he's in an awkward spot, but the reporter did his job by asking the question. Fair enough. It's good that he admitted it because this my take. Take it for whatever you want. If a coach won't call out his players when they're not playing, at least in a mild-mannered way, and that's what Mike did, then those players aren't being held accountable. Players not being held accountable. When you're 0-2 at Florida State, will lead to 0-3 and 0-4, etc. And even if you win those games, it's going to be ugly if you're not progressing. Florida State has to prove against Memphis that this next game here is going to be the rebuilding, the rebirth of an offense to doing something and maybe giving some life to the defense. I've said it yesterday on the podcast that I had on Monday. Florida State's offense is the one that's up the most here because Seth Hennigan's going to score. If Florida State does not put 30 on the board, they will be very fortunate to win. So with that, I want you to think about this. Norvell's not real sure about how tight they're going to be in this game. Should we believe it? I'm in wait and see mode. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how I would attack the Memphis defense because I think it's pretty definitive on a couple of things they need to do. That's next on Locked On Seminoles. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. What's the best way to attack Memphis? Got an offense that's not running the ball well. You got Jaylin out. Jeremiah Bowers is maybe going to play. We don't know the full answer there. I'm sure they'll test him throughout the week. But you're not in a good spot at right tackle. That's definitively the case. Your quarterback and receivers, Norvell has admitted in his press conference, they're not really on the same page a lot of the time. What's the best way to attack the defense? Now, if you want a little defensive overview of Memphis, yesterday's show, I have some of that. But, let's be honest here. You've got to find a way to make that happen. Because if there's not any one thing you do great, you got to scheme it up, which I hate saying with every fiber of my being, because too much is put on play calling as it is. Fans think that's how this works. It's not. It's still execution of basic plays and blocking, making guys miss, throwing the football. That's 90% of it. And that's the confidence and whatnot, and why I brought it up from Norvell's press conference over and over and over again. This Florida State football team is not that confident. So my attacking points for Memphis, they got a couple of pretty good defensive linemen, including a massive nose guard. This is just how I would do it. So take it for what it's worth. Got to attack the middle of the field in the passing game and the running game. They got to be able to run the ball between the tackles, suck the safeties in, posts, seam routes to tight ends. As I mentioned earlier, Florida State has one tight end catch for the season. It's garbage. Morlock caught one pass for 12 yards. That's nice, but he should be catching 2 to 4 passes every single game. It's really bad. First down rushing success. I've talked about this over and over. I'm going to talk about it every single week. This will be a point on every single offensive preview that I do. Attacking Memphis is no different. First down rushing success. DJ is not mobile. DJ is not a guy that's going to just win you a game by throwing 50 times. If you do not get ahead of the chains and run the ball well, consistently on first down, you will get smoked. I know it's going to be a little bit of a different front. They're probably going to move around a little bit, some of which they're going to do right before the snap. That's what some of these teams do with big defensive linemen, 3-man fronts, etc. They'll use different kinds of stand-up ends that are basically D linemen, but they're in a 2-point stance. They'll do a lot of different things. So Florida State's going to be probably having to process more than they want up front. That's the challenge. Too bad you signed up for Florida State. This is big boy football. Figure it out. And if they're getting mentally beaten, you'll know almost immediately because you'll see guys coming free. Who has who is what they're trying to create a problem with. The Memphis defense can do that on the edge. And then they got a massive nose guard to suck up 2 blockers and a pretty good playmaker at DN too. So first down rushing success is paramount. And then again, for the love of mankind, can Florida State's receivers consistently create some separation? Part of it is, again, I hate this, but scheming it up, they're going to have to change something because it's obvious the receivers are not doing well. Either change some of the play calls, a few of the designs. They need a very early game time moment where a receiver is just wide open. I mean, scheme. And again, I hate that. You need to run your offense, but they're not doing it right now. They're going to have to come up with something new. And if they don't try anything new, like if it's not obvious, they ran a new play and it worked, and then they come out and with the same stuff and it's the same result, then you can hammer the coaches all you want. I know I will. They're not getting it done with what they've tried to run. The short stuff and this everything to the perimeter doesn't work. They need some stuff in the middle of the field, and they also need a few new plays, something that Memphis cannot prepare for. It's literally not on film. Not this year, last year, 10 years ago. New. They got to have something to get these guys excited. And if they don't, and you go out and struggle, I will be the first one to drop the hammer on the late Saturday night live show that I'll probably do, regardless win or loss. But Florida State needs to come up with something new. I know that's not normal in a season, but it's not normal to be this pathetic as a passing offense too. So they need something new. It's not that hard to create a wrinkle off one of your other looks. It's not the formation, it's the play itself I'm talking about. Just an idea to help DJ make feel a little more comfy. They've done this a little bit, and this is just an add-on. A little more max protection. Maybe you keep Morlock in or somebody else, whatever. Jackson Last, whoever. And they've got to find a way again to get the ball down the field. Up top, early in the game, no doubt about it, we're taking a deep shot kind of play. Got to do it. I know that's probably not the most novel concept, but if DJ's as uncomfortable as he's looked, think back to that. I mean, a great play call in the red zone inside the 10. They throw the football in the end zone. They get it. 2 guys cross, 2 DBs go with 1 receiver. 1 guy's uncovered and DJ misses it. I mean, that's a softball toss for a touchdown, and he threw it behind home plate and over the backstop, basically. It was terrible. So whatever you can do to make him comfortable, I'm just guessing here. I don't have the answer. But his ability to hit guys, there's got to be something to improve his accuracy with technique and stuff you do in practice. But something in the game with protection's got to help because they haven't been that good there either. I would imagine would be helpful. And also, I don't know how comfortable he is with this. They just got to ask DJ, move the pocket a little bit. First downs, like it doesn't have to be a true hardcore far right or far left sprint out, but just move it like where he gets behind the tight end where he's originally lined up as an inline and let him throw from there. Like he just moves a little bit. Little things like that to keep the pass rush honest, to keep them in their rushing lanes, maybe create more of a passing lane for DJ. That's something to do. And then I would also just flat out ask DJ for his 3 passing plays every week. And I'm sure they do something to that effect, but he's going to have to expand on that too. There has to be something that DJ does to help Norvell and his staff. This 2-way street. He's obviously not comfortable. You can see it in his body language in the game. It's completely understandable when you're struggling, you're feeling a little awkward, but his body language is now carrying over to the team. They've got to figure out something early in the game to make him comfortable to get throws, because if not, they're going to lose to Memphis. He must be 100% comfortable, or as least close to it as possible, because everybody's watching that guy. TV cameras are on him, constantly talking about him on TV. The fans are talking about it. When you struggle at quarterback, it alienates the rest. It's just the way it is. They must find a way from the outset of the game for Florida State's quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, to be comfortable. He needs to tell him what it is that he wants to do. He's got to speak up. If there's any changes, like I was mentioning earlier, play calls, got to do it. Got to do it. He's got to change something, because this dink and dunk behind the line and throwing to the perimeter stuff and screens doesn't work. You're leaving like 70% of the field out of it. You can't figure that area out. They don't have to attain any coverage system that is, normal, like cover 2 and stuff where you can run the ball. They're just diving down in the box from the safety spot. You're going to get hammered. So that's something else to think about. As a reminder, I put this post up on X earlier today. There's going to be a live show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Just going to talk about kind of the state of the program. We're going to release a few more stats, talk a little bit about Florida State in general, and just give you guys a chance to comment. That show will also be posted later in the evening, and you can, if you can't go to the live show, if you want to watch it, it will be posted to Amazon and to Spotify and to CastBox and to Apple and all those places that you can hear it. So make sure you check that out as well. Please like this podcast. Please subscribe. Please rate and review. And again, thank you very much for tuning in to Locked On Seminoles. I truly appreciate you stopping in to talk some Noles football with me. Check out Locked On ACC, Locked On College Football. We've got a lot of stuff going on in college football right now. There is a lot of turmoil. Florida State is certainly not the only team struggling. The ACC is a disaster. There are other programs that are struggling, so make sure you check out those shows. Everybody have a good one. I will talk to you later on tonight.